premium is too high? And that would have been my question. Why do you believe the premium's too high?
I need the proper need analysis, and after the need analysis, it's a 2 million policy.
Yeah.
But he's
So,
not agree with that.
and this usually comes back to the trust level. I don't believe you that I need $2 million of insurance. Or it could be, I believe I can find this cheaper somewhere else, which they can't. And the only way to handle that is, okay, so let's talk about this. Part of objections is trying to settle the objections prior to them coming up and doing the proper needs analysis and delivering the needs analysis and the razor plan. I always say, you know what? I've been doing this a long time. We shop the market. By the way, in your plan, you need $2 million of life insurance. And by shopping the market, we found the best product for you. Has to, depending on if it's a term or a permanent policy, has the best cash value or whatever, bring the benefits out. By the way, it's going to cost you $222. And by that time, if you've done the proper needs analysis, you should know how much cash flow they have. And if they say, to me, that's expensive, I just say, yeah, it is. I agree with them. It's not a question. You don't start selling if they have a statement. A statement is, yeah, it is. You're right. If they'd asked me a question, that seems very expensive. Is there another product? No, I've shopped the market. So you have to determine if they're asking you a question or if they're giving you a statement. Statements is something you don't answer. You agree with them? It's sunny out today. Yeah, it is. Okay? That comes with confidence. And it's something we'll get you there, Gurpreet. But you know what? It just comes with confidence. Okay? But I love the question. Love the question. Okay? Any other questions or objections that you may get?
I think the main objection which is coming to my mind being a
Yep.
businessman is okay. The main objection which is coming to my mind as a businessman is bad experience.
Yep.
So it's very difficult to deal with a client who had a bad experience with the previous
Sure.
agent, or because even if they trust you, but they have bad experience, it will take some time for us to build the confidence and trust in them.
Absolutely.
We cannot convert that sale on the spot. We have to spend some time with the client and give proper information, knowledge to the client. And I think that's a very big objection which we can face.
Yeah. So if there's a question, I'll be able to address it. But you're absolutely right. People do have bad experiences. We know that. Here's the other downside, because we do such a professional job. Sometimes we see products out there, and I've mentioned this before. You'll go in and you'll say, somebody will say to you, I have $1 million of life insurance. And then you open up their policy and you say to them, no, you don't. You have $500,000 of life insurance and $500,000 of accidental death and dismemberment. That puts bad reputation on the whole industry.
Correct.
And the way you have to overcome that is with confidence. And more importantly, we are different. And how we are different, this is something I always say to my brother over here. You know what? Oh, you look like you have a great haircut. You need $500,000 of life insurance. We do things differently. How we do things is, you know what? Let's just sit down and talk. Let me gather the information. You have to build that rapport.
Yeah.
And then we have the razor plan. Let me explain the razor plan. We do things so different. And if somebody said to me, you know what? I don't need $2 million of life insurance. You've seen what I do. It's not me saying it. This is the razor plan. You gave me the information. It says $2 million. This is how much you need. So we do things differently there. And Ram, you've heard me say many times, if somebody sort of badmouths the industry, I always say, doesn't matter what I say, doesn't matter what you say, doesn't matter what you think, it doesn't matter what somebody else has told you. Insurance companies in Canada are heavily, heavily, heavily regulated.
Yep.
They will pay no more or no less than what's in the underlying policy. So what our job today to do is to see if you actually qualify, because I don't know if you're going to get this insurance. We're going to see if you qualify. And then if you qualify, what we're going to do, I'm going to come back. I'm going to explain this policy from front to back to make sure you're covered. And you know what I'm going to tell you? I'm going to tell you exactly when this policy is not going to pay out. And if you're comfortable with that, then you take the policy. If you're not comfortable with it, don't take it. But all we're trying to do today is to actually see if you qualify. Because I can't give this to you. You have to qualify for it. But I understand one of the biggest hurdles we have, and this comes back to the confidence and trust of us and the industry, is they've had a bad reputation in the past.
That brings me another idea. I mean, what if the client is ready, we are doing all the hard work, but the underwriter is refusing the policy?
That's out of our control.
Yeah.
And again, I've had policies where people don't get it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I just say, hey, I'm sorry, you know what,
First,
you don't qualify.
Sorry to disturb. First, we have to absorb it within ourselves,
Yeah.
and then we have to pass that information to the client, right? And again, it depends on our homework or our assessment with the client's eligibility or whatever product we are advising to the client. Is it possible if the underwriter is refusing one particular type of policy, we can advise another policy, or we can look for some other options?
Okay, so you do have that option. Remember, you're not allowed to lie on the policy. So every single policy out there says, have you been rejected from a policy in the last 2 years? You have to answer yes. Okay. Now, the underwriters will tell you usually why you're rejecting a policy. One might be health reasons. That's usually the common. You know what? And that's when you say to a client, you know, maybe the doctor, because they've asked your doctor's information, hasn't given you all the information. You should go talk to your doctor. And that's a good thing. There will come a time, and I think we're working on this right now, where the client may not get a policy because it's too large and they can't afford it. So they're looking for financial information. So in a case like that, usually what happens is the underwriter comes back and says, you know what, we're not going to give you that $10 million policy, but we'll qualify you for 4. And then that's a different discussion you have with the customer. Okay, does that help, Brian?
Oh, yes, of course. As you said, we have to be honest and
Yep.
we have to be upfront with the client and tell the client that we are not the decision maker. We have taken all the information in this information form, and this will be underwriter's job to approve it.
And I've done this many times, and I think some of you have seen this before. You will get what I call the Superman individual. I'm healthy. I will say, really? In your occupation, you're healthy? Come on, get up. Can you do this? And I get them to move around. I want them to prove to me that they qualify. Really? You've been a truck driver for 40 years and you don't have bad knees and bad back? Really? Well, that's different. Well, then, no, we got to see if you qualify. I've also had the people who tell me that, you know, they're completely healthy and they come back with their pills. They've lined them all up. And you're going, okay. But yeah, our job is we are underwriters, the first part of the underwriting. And I'm very clear, you know what? You may not qualify for this. Let's see if you do. Now, I don't know if anybody has, but where I get a lot of confidence is I've had insurance policies pay out. That's a double-edged sword. I've seen companies pay millions of dollars to people. That's what we do. And when you have something like that happen, you are, as I said, sort of happy that you're taking care of it, but sad that you've lost a client. But once you've seen that and see that companies will pay out, and if you filled out everything properly and they have a check to them within a week, and they're still handling all the other estate, you're their hero, the family's hero. Okay. Any other objections that anybody would like that they've had that they'd like to go over?
So one of the objections is people say that, oh, I have coverage from my work.
Mm-hmm.
Say I work for Sun Life, I work for CIBC, I have my coverage, I work for Brampton Transit, or my wife is a teacher. We have very good coverage from them. So how to handle this?
Fantastic. So there's a couple things I do because we do want to get clarification. Okay, you're driving for Brampton Transit. Are you planning on staying there for the rest of your life or next 3 years, 5 years? Yeah, I am. Great. So I know with Brampton Transit, you get 2 times your annual salary. Did you opt into any of their additional coverage? Because they have some great coverage. If you're going to stay there, you might as well get some extra insurance to them. Yeah, I did. Okay, well, we've taken that into consideration in the Razor plan. We know that you need $2 million of life insurance. You have $400,000 currently with Brampton Transit. So you still need $1.6 million. That's what we're covering. So when we do the razor plan, the reason why we want to know their benefit information, or if they already have a policy, maybe they have a real good policy with another company already. Well, we're not here to cancel it. Now, there comes a point in time that we may want to. I'll give you an example. Maybe they have a $100,000 term policy, and we're recommending $500,000. Well, the way the band levels work, it's actually cheaper for them to get a $500,000 and cancel the $100,000 than for us to put in $400,000. So you're right. I'm happy when clients already have insurance, but that's not going to cover their needs are because we've done the assessment for them. Yep. Great question. Thank you very much, Smith. Anybody else? Okay. We've covered my half hour on how to handle objections.
One more
Oh,
question.
sure.
Like I just
sure,
met
just
my,
one, Smith, because I can
Yeah.
only handle one more.
I met my physio last week.
Yep.
So when he was doing my therapy, he himself said, "Boss, I need 1 million of insurance." I used your strategy. Hey, how do you know that you need $1 million?
Yeah.
I need to sit with you and discuss about your financial need analysis. So I'm saying sometimes people have, preconceived mind and notions that I just need term insurance. I don't need the living benefits, critical illness. I don't need that, boss.
You know what? I don't know either. I say, you've all heard me. I don't know what you need. Let us sit down, talk. I'll gather the information. Maybe you need $1 million. Maybe you only need 300,000. Maybe you need 10 million. Maybe you need this. I don't know. Let's us sit down, have the talk. That's what professionals do. Because when you went to that doctor, went to your physio, did he look at you, Samantha, and go, you know what? Get in the office. I'm working on your knees right now. And you're going, oh, I had the back problem.
Yeah.
He doesn't know. He sat down and he asked you questions. He went through all and said, you know what? Let me look at this. Come back in a week and we'll figure out what you need.
Right.
That's what professionals do. That's what professionals do. We're professionals. That's how we handle things. Okay? But you're right. If somebody says you have $1 million, how do we know that?
Yeah.
Yes, Arita.
So I have a question.
Sure. It's going to be a tough one.
It's not the objection, I would say, but what happens sometimes when we go to the client who we are known to, close friends or close family, and when we are really close, we explain casually.
Yep.
Now, when we explain a couple of times, they might say, you know what, I don't need, take my credit card, do whatever you want to do. In that case, what is ethical?
You know what? I always say, you know, Rita, I know you're my sister, but I follow the same process for everybody. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna talk, because if I was your doctor, when you want me to ask you the same question, let's sit down. Let's talk professionally. I'm gonna ask you all this information. I need to gather it all. I know you're gonna move forward with something, but we want to make sure we have the right something for you. Let's just sit down and go through everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we handle it.
Got it.
Good. Anybody else? Yes, Niti.
So during the process, meeting with the client.
Yep.
Yeah. So first of all, we gather the information. We made the razor plan for them. Now our job is to have the, difference with all the companies, premiums and everything. So what factors we should keep in our mind while giving a policy for a specific company? So I just want to know that what factors we should consider to choose a company, whether it is we should go for IA, Equitable, or so on.
Okay, so it comes down to our job as professionals. Which companies should we choose? Here's the secret of the industry. As a lot of brokers can sell a lot of different products, you get comfortable with a couple companies. And the reason why you get comfortable with a couple companies is usually because you have faith in them. They also have great customer service. I've used this example in the past. I never sold Desjardins. I found that they had horrible customer service. My team, they sold a ton of Desjardins because they liked them. They got to know them. They did. So you have to be able, when FSRIC sits down and said, why did you recommend this company over that company? You have to explain to them why. And it cannot be, Well, High Point, that's what they sell. You'll lose your license. So you have to know what the different now at the beginning, if you're not sure, you say, okay, why should I be using for this term policy a Beneva versus an IA or an Equitable or whatever, and we'll help you out with that. But one of the policies that we did earlier, we said, here's the 3 companies. This is one we recommend based on this scenario, but you make that decision. I, again, because of confidence, I usually recommend one product because I've done my research. Because somebody said to me, okay, why are you recommending this IA policy versus an Equitable? Well, I did the research. And the Equitable doesn't have as good a cash value in this situation as the IA, and that's one of the things that you're happy for. Maybe a couple dollars more, but it's going to get us to our goals. So you need to be comfortable with all the different companies, because certain situations, you'll find out it's better for you to recommend a Beneva or a Humania or an IA or an Equitable or an Empire based on their health, smoker status, age, and what they're trying to achieve.
One last thing.
Sure.
In the client policy notes,
Yep.
we always mention why we recommend this particular product to the client as per the need of the clients.
Mm-hmm.
But do we have something where advisor can put its notes that I compare 3 things and then this one was the best as per the needs of the client and as per the coverages?
Okay. I believe this will be something that we're going to be entering into the CRM, but you should always have your own client file.
Okay.
I still have all my client files. If Fizzer
Okay.
ever came back, I still am old school. Mine are still paper copies, but you want to have your own on your computer as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Good. Great feedback today. Anybody, any last questions? If not, the man of the hour is going to come up and he's going to talk about objections that we get when we're trying to recruit, because I know that was how today's session sort of got started, because people were asking that. So Rakesh, you want to come on up?